Hello everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we're continuing through our retrospective unbagging of Imperium. This time with issue 36, and Imperium is for the Warhammer 40,000 setting. Now issue 36 would have released around 2023, at least for Australia, but in saying that I think it would have been out probably maybe as early as 2021 for the likes of the UK and the US. Because unfortunately in Australia we do still have to wait for things. Anyway, getting straight into the issue. Front of the cover with issue 36, going back to some Necron units. So we will have a mini to build at some point in time. So here we have the Tomb Blade. Completed mini, painted and everything. So we'll get to read about some of the Necron flyers, how to build and paint the Tomb Blade, and there will be a battle for an Imperial Forge. So that'll most likely be the actual mission to play through. Opening up the issue. So contents page, Tomb Blades will be the little bit of unit information to begin with. As well as story information for the Necron flyers. Hunter's Vengeance, I suspect it's probably an Imperial / Space Marine story. The build and paint Tomb Blade, and then into the actual playthrough, which, coincidentally enough, will still be Tomb Blade themed. And look, I've inadvertently pulled the cover away. Anyway, how about we just move that to the side? Okay, Tomb Blades, Aerial Hunters. So here we have I dare say a squad of 3. I suspect they will have some different configurations. Down here we do have a breakdown of their weapons. The Particle Beamer, Twin Gauss Blasters, and the Twin Tesla Carbine. And then here it looks like we have some information about some of the war gear that they can have. Battle record on the back as always. It's always nice to give some level of thematic theme to the units. Armory flyers. Now this was obviously at a time when flyers were the biggest rage. I do feel, from what I've seen in 10th, flyers are coming back down a little, but that's my opinion. So armored flyers, especially within the Necron side of things. So the Doom Scythes, and looks like we have these Tomb, I've already forgotten the name already, Tomb Blades. So there's that story information there, and some other type of Necron flies, Night Scythes, Tomb Blades, and Doom Scythes. I will admit they do look very, very cool. Vengeful Hunters, in fact we're actually moving towards probably the Eldari and the Drukhari, also known as the Eldar and the Dark Eldar from when I first started. So some story information about those and those particular type of vehicles. I will admit they do have a very nice look and feel, although for some reason I looked at that, I know it's Eldari, and just thought, kind of reminds me of a Macross Veritech. Anyway, how to build the Tomb Blade. So putting everything together, there are suggestions that there will be no glue, but sometimes gluing things does help. So how to build everything together. Depending on your paint scheme, you may or may not want to do sub-assembly, although to be honest, looking at it, it might be one of those you'll just have to put it together and say a small prayer. How to paint the Tomb Blade. Well, once again, I guess it depends on your actual decision on what your colour scheme was. So starting off with Brunelord Brass, have it on black, Lead Belcher, which is unsurprising, Corax White, obviously for the areas that will get some of that green colour as time goes on, Canoptic Alloy, Cryptic Armor Shade Gloss, which I hear has been discontinued, the First Coming of Norn Oil, and then Reichland Flesh Shade. So definitely a lot of washes and shades to come through to help build that up. Definitely not a bad start. I suspect it will have many more colours to come, especially looking at some of the other images here. Datasheet for the Tomb Blades, which is probably a little bit out of date given we're in 10th edition, almost 11th. Tutorial, basically how the twin Tesla carbines work. The nebula scope, which I suspect is that piece of war gear, at least one of the 3. Ranged weapon types, heavy, rapid fire, assault, grenade, pistol. I'm still getting used to some of these things because they have changed over the years, at least from when I remember. Big guns never tire, look out sir, which I'm not too familiar with, and blast weapons. Once again, blast weapons have also changed over the years. Making attacks, hits, wound, allocate attack, so just pretty much the attack and damage sequence, saving throw and inflicting damage. So it's always nice to have those little step-by-steps on how to play the game. Capture the Forge, Adeptus Mechanicus and the Necrons. So there is your scout mission, Battle for the Forge. Last page, always that little splash page for Imperium. And I see, oh gosh. Let me just progressively collect this poor issue off the table. I might as well retrieve the first cover. So coming soon, or what has already been released since issue 37, nice little tower on the front cover. We do get some more battlefield terrain, and obviously some information about the tower. And then issue 38, very nice image there of the Space Wolves. What do we have? Paints and texture tool. Oh, texture tool is very nice. So we get some technical astrogranite and Uriel yellow. Some information about the Space Wolves, how to base, and we will get another double-sided mat. I'm getting a nice collection of these, especially through Combat Patrol. I'm also looking forward to actually having some astrogranite. Hopefully it's still okay, because I know it's not supposed to be liquidy. So that is issue 36 in its quote-unquote falling apart state. Now, the actual sprue for the Tomb Blade. Now, it will only be a single Tomb Blade, it's not going to be all 3. We will get the bases for, well, the flying plastic bases. I do remember these from the good old days. Nice to see we still get them. I'm saying that, I still miss the 3rd edition land speeder, but moving along. Here is the sprue in all its glory. So, it's definitely not too heavy on the detailing until you get to the actual weapons, although this part of the armor does look very, very cool. On the back, definitely the non-action side of things. So if I just do that, so that's one side of the sprue, and then the other. So not too bad for a single sprue for a single unit. Okay, bring this back into view. So there we have the retrospective unbagging of issue 36 for Imperium and what it contained in the good old days. So it's very much geared towards the introduction of the Tomb Blade unit, which is always nice. So after 36 odd issues, it's pretty much the running theme of if there was any type of actual hobby item introduced, whether it was a model or terrain, the issue was always centered around that, and then there was just some additional tidbits around it just for some store information, etc. So obviously we had some of the little side stories here about some other aerial units. Leaving it there for issue 36. Next week will be issue 37, getting that bit closer to the halfway mark of Imperium. Pretty sure it will still take me right through to the end of the year to finish this unbagging. And by that stage, I'll be like 60 odd issues in for Combat Patrol. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this unbagging video. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do appreciate it. Extra content can be found on my Instagram, as well as the YouTube community tab, which at the moment is just temporarily stepped away from the Warhammer stuff, but I'm just posting whatever piques my interest at that particular time. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in the next video, which could be anything Warhammer related, could be Transformers related, and I'm doing a whole heap of blocky stuff, or just something else on the channel. See ya.